the country has become so polarized, and the political parties even more so, that it's created such a poisonous environment in the nation's capital that issues such as energy, which again historically have been nonpartisan issues, now are viewed through a political prism.
You know, we're not a country that's red. We're not a country that's blue. We're a country that can come together and do incredible things. And right now we're fighting each other.
I came in with very low expectations. I've increased my expectations dramatically and believe that this kind of a process could go much further than it has in the 2 or 3 days we're here.
If we come to the table focusing on what makes us different, it tends to create everything about us being different, and that's not always the case.
This meeting here at Gold Lake has been both interesting and also quite valuable from a standpoint of the fact that it has allowed people coming from both extreme ends of the continuum, for the lack of a better characterization, from disparate backgrounds, to come together and discuss the aspects, or I should say the elements of this issue that are really quite important in a very open and candid and forthright manner, and has created the opportunity, I think, for people on all sides of the political divide, regardless of where you fall, to come to look at things in a far different light. I think that this type of meeting perhaps can become a very effective vehicle for allowing the disparate elements within our political system to come together to resolve some of the more difficult and vexing issues that are facing our country and indeed the world today.
I think gatherings like this are very important. We have such varying views, people that are to one extreme with their views and those with views at a total opposite extreme. I believe that in order for us to come out with a reasonable solution at the end of the day, people have to have a willingness to extend the olive branch in a way that they're willing to at least listen and give full consideration to the views of others. And the way to successfully get strange bedfellows to the table is to establish common ground. Find issues that are common to both. I believe that people in labor believe in jobs, but people in labor also believe in clean environment. Folks that work in the Steelworkers Union take their children hunting and fishing on weekends, just like members of the Sierra Club, and they all want a clean environment. I think that if we can put our combative attitudes aside, the norm, and come together and think about just what is in the best interest of generations to come, we'll find that we all want the same thing. We just have problems agreeing on how to get there. And what I've seen at the conference this weekend is that there have been ground rules established to where a level of respect has already been predetermined, that we respect each other's views, though we may not agree.
I came here to this meeting with, I would guess, reservations like so many did, but because I think it's very important that the policy debate not become any more acerbic, any more embittered than it is already. One can have extremely different points of view and still have respect for one's opponent, not demonize one's opponent. There's a tendency, I'm sure that I'm and my organization are occasionally prone to it, as are most groups in Washington. But the challenge of America is to restore some of those essential principles that made our nation such a great nation. By challenging myself to reach out of my value voice, which is freedom, to those whose value voice is fairness, justice, or to those whose security, order, stability, I train myself to speak in a way that is not totally familiar to me, and hopefully I learn to listen from them in a voice that I'm not familiar with either. I met with some individuals where I can see small areas where we could actually agree very quickly, and it would be very useful, I hope, for them and certainly for us to work together. We may still disagree, but now we will disagree on a much more profound basis. We will disagree because we disagree about the consequences of the policy, not about the honorableness of the policy itself.
I think that politics should be about deep listening. And what we really have in politics today is loud screaming. I'm more worried about the society becoming so polarized around belief systems and around fear and sort of a contagious anxiety where we begin to demonize certain parts of our society. We begin to say, well, those people are trying to make us do this. And there's a we and them that becomes profound. And it's happening. And I'm most worried about that. So when you're sitting with someone who you violently disagree with, I think it's very helpful to just know that this is a human being who at their core wants to be safe, wants to be respected, wants to be appreciated, wants to have connection, wants to be heard. And even if you're listening to them and you don't like what they're saying, if you do it respectfully and you actually really listen, you don't pretend to listen, and you actually really try to get to know them, often I find that something opens up and you begin talking at a different level than you started out talking at. You know, out of the fear that people are feeling about the future, I think possibly we can find a new level of commitment and conviction to getting things done. You know, we could really invest in ways that would create a future we would be excited about rather than terrified by.